Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Rob Swavely, and I'm the host of this new podcast called VisitR. I'm so excited to finally start this adventure because I'm trying to find the commonalities with everybody out there, all the visitors, so to speak. We're all doing our thing, living our life in this big blue ball spinning around, as I always say. And today we have a very special guest, and he is the first guest of this. I couldn't be more honored. And Chuck Wolf Todd, he is a published author and has been a musician for many decades, showing her age. I also have my glasses when I got to read a couple questions for you. I wanted to try to make this as real as possible. How are you? Welcome.
Oh,
How
I'm
you
doing
doing?
pretty good. I'm very honored to be on the first episode, actually. This is great.
Feelings mutual,
It's
man.
awesome. Awesome show. Awesome concept. I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to doing as much as I can with it.
I look forward to having you even right now. So tell us a little bit about yourself for those who might not know you. So
Okay, well, I've been living in the area for quite a while. I was born and raised around outside of Philadelphia, and then we moved to the Westchester area. And then
East Coast.
my parents passed away when I was a teenager, so I got shipped out to Los Angeles area with my older sister, my poor
Sorry.
older sister. I put her through some
Yeah.
hell as a young teenager. Wow, here I am in California. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I started really getting into the music scene out there and everything. And it's been really cool. And I'm still doing music. I never gave up. It's one thing I can tell everybody. If you really want to do something, you really want to make something happen, don't give up. Don't let anybody tell you to give up
Dig
because
it and never give
don't
up.
do it because it'll work eventually. Keep at it.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. There's plenty of times in my life where I had to check myself a little bit, and I had some good support groups and people around me and good friends that were like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you got this, like, believe in you. And there's something to that, the positivity, negativity about how you look at things, I think. So, you know.
Exactly. There's ups and downs. You just got to roll with it.
So tell us tell us how you got into music. If, you know.
Well, we used to have an old radio in the living room when I was a child, and I used to go in there and turn that radio on, the local rock station for the Philadelphia area, and I was really getting into that, and they were playing a lot of Beatles, Stones, and all that, and everything. It was big back then,
Nice.
and my sister noticed I was really getting into it. She started giving me some of her records, so I started playing some of her records on one of those old.
Now, older sister?
Yeah,
How,
my
how
older
much
sister
older
was 20
was she?
some, 22 years older than me. She was
Oh,
pushing me
that's
in a baby
old.
carriage when I was a child.
Wow.
That's how I was a very big surprise to my parents.
Wow. So she probably gave you like a lot of
Yeah, she gave me some really
all
cool old
kinds of
45 records and
decades of
everything.
of cool history especially with music, right? So you were
Yeah,
saying
yeah, very very cool. And then I found my brother's acoustic in the attic. He was
acoustic
20 some
guitar.
years older than me too, and I started trying to play along
Yeah.
to some of these records, and they noticed it. My parents started sending me to lessons and all that, and from there I just kept at it and at it. Then I started getting into rock and the metal and all that, and just loving it,
So
taking the journey.
flash forward metal real quick. I like all kinds of music personally. So what's your ultimate metal album? Metal band. Metal band. What's your ultimate metal band?
My ultimate metal band.
Yeah.
That's really hard to say because I like so much. I like some of the older stuff, some
Uh-huh.
of the newer stuff that's coming out now that people are doing is really awesome. It's a really hard
All right,
choice.
give me one from the 80s and then one
Oh,
after that.
one from the 80s. Okay. Iron Maiden,
Hands down, yeah.
Metallica.
Iron Maiden for me was an acquired voice. I love respect to my goodness, right? It was an acquired voice. It was almost like Rush. Like the lead singer was like acquired taste. Like if you're drinking Beck's beer for beer drinkers, right? It's like you
I
either
love the
like it or you
Rush.
don't, right? But just the level and then the lyrics and the theatrics and everything about with Iron Maiden, even it's just to me made up for it. I know some Iron Maiden fans would be like, for me saying that part, but just being real about it. Iron Maiden's awesome. I
Yeah, I
agree.
went to quite a few Iron Maiden shows, and speaking of Rush and all that, I used to
Jealous.
love that back in the 70s. I still love them.
Now, forgive me if I don't know if I'm wrong. Did the Rush drummer, was he like, there was some sort of history made with that band, and I'm an idiot for
Oh,
even,
Geddy Lee.
okay.
He was
Did,
no,
well,
no,
did
no.
they use like
Neil
two
Peart.
drum
I'm sorry.
sets? Well, is it me or did I hear a rumor they used 2 drum sets, or he used like the 2 or the dual, um, or did they use 2 drummers? Like, what was the secret
No, I
with
think he
Rush? It was
had probably
something.
played one of the largest drum sets live. I think
Okay.
in the business, so that
At
was
the time,
probably a
some
big
Tommy Lee
job to
upside
set
down
that up. Yeah, for shows.
stuff. Yeah, nice. So I did some research on you. You've been out there, man. That's awesome. You've traveled around. Um, I see you have a slew. I did some investigating. Clicking around. You have a slew of guitars. I know a few people that have a collection, but you really have a lot of guitars, and they're really good ones. And I try to dabble, a little, but I think I don't know anything.
Yeah, I have a
I
guitar problem.
and prior to this, no, I wouldn't say it's a problem, man. You're pretty good. I know, like we do, with this podcast, I have a lot of like, stuff I want to do. Right, it's the first one, and I want to have segments of, when I first started, like thinking about this idea, I wanted to have segments of like people asking questions, calling in, doing videos, and we have all that, but. I just feel like for this first episode, it's a little more intimate. We don't do some of that stuff, and we save it for later. But I did ask you previously to bring in your favorite guitar to like a show and tell, like we're like kids. Remember, everyone, like you remember when we were in like kindergarten, like when do you get ready for show and tell?
Right.
If I remember, that should be a skit right there, like a segment right there. So, in kindergarten, what was your favorite show and tell, if you remember, or. But how about that? Why don't we take a minute? Why don't you show us, your favorite guitar? How's that?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, well, lately I've been really getting into the Gibson Victory. This was big in the '80s metal scene.
Oh, I love the color, by the way.
And yeah, that's the iguana burst, they call that. Alien iguana burst. Yeah, they were real big in the '80s, and people were loving them. And what Gibson found that on eBay they're worth a lot of money, and there's a big market for them on eBay. People really wanted them, so they figured we'll reintroduce this. So they reintroduced this, and it's back again. I don't know how many. It might be a limited, but I saw it in the shop and I picked it up and started playing it. Fell in love with it and had to have it. So what do? Yeah, I get my card out, and now I've been playing that one pretty much exclusively lately. I have a few other Gibsons, a V and Les Paul, all that, and some Ibanez's. And
so, all right. So with all that, does this sound the best to you, or you like the way it feels the best to you, or
I love the way it feels. The way it feels is the modern C shape.
That's important.
It's like a modern C shape, they call it, but it's just a little thinner. So that's like perfect. It's like a cross between an Ibanez and a regular Les Paul type thing. And that has 24 frets instead of 22, so I can get down.
Okay.
Get a little higher on it and everything, and more range.
Now, how do you tune it? What do you normal?
I'm E flat on that one.
Okay.
And sometimes I drop down to C sharp from the E flat.
Okay.
Yeah, to get a heavier sound.
I forget what Bowie was similar with.
And I had it set up specially for that by Mike. Mike is George Lynch's guitar tech too, and he actually works at the Guitar Center here.
Now, when you say here, like we're on the East,
Wilmington, Delaware Guitar Center.
Yeah, so we're on the East Coast here, and one of the guitar centers.
We're lucky enough to have a big pro setup guy working nearby.
Nice, very very nice. That reminds me of the alien color, so I have to ask this. We did talk previous, and you have a story. I believe it was not your uncle, your brother was out in, was it New Mexico, Roswell? It was something that, like people can believe what they want to believe, but like apparently this happened. There's an article out there.
Havertown.
Tell us about that.
Havertown.
Havertown, PA.
Right near here.
So what can you tell anything about?
He was a police sergeant on patrol.
Okay.
And he told us a story about where they were going by a field, and a UFO was landed in the field.
Wow.
And him and his partner were looking at this then, and of course they didn't call him in, but he witnessed this then, and it took off, and then it was so fast, it was like in a flash, it's gone. Yeah. And
yeah, it's crazy. They always say like, hey, we have this technology, but yet we took it over. We found out enough about it, regardless of whatever deals that they made, if they did or they didn't, or the different species that might be out there. Nothing would surprise me, right?
He's not the type of guy that would make up something like that. There's
Right,
no way.
because the normal human body,
Well,
you would think laws of physics
on
would
the
just
whole alien thing,
jelly that fast.
the whole alien thing, what you're talking about is what I believe is there's so many planets out there, so many solar systems. How could we possibly be the only living beings in something so vast?
Absolutely, agree 100%, 1000%.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Did something happen with the Men in Black? No,
The Men in Black, yeah.
I gotta hear
Actually,
it. We gotta hear it.
my nephew, Robert Todd, wrote a book series himself on aliens. And the Men in Black actually
So
went
it's out
to,
there. It's actually out there.
this is around here too.
Oh.
They actually
No, the
went
book
to
series.
his house,
His book series.
went to his house, knocked on the door, and told him to knock it off. Don't write anymore.
Wouldn't surprise me. I believe.
Yeah,
it.
they actually
Yeah.
threatened him.
You hear it all the time, especially nowadays. You go on YouTube, you get on the foxholes, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Speaking of books, you're a published author. I think that's awesome. And so tell us about that. Like, when did you start doing that? What's that about?
Well, that came as a surprise to me also because I had a nightmare that never left my mind. You know what I mean? It's one of those nightmares you have. You just keep seeing it over and over again in your head and thinking about it. And I was thinking, man, this would be a really cool movie or a book series or something. So I said, hell, I'm going to start writing it out. So I started writing it out.
Yeah, what year? What about what year?
Then this is like 2018. And I ended up writing 3 books.
Oh, nice.
And this is the second in the series.
Are we getting that? Everybody? Yeah, cool.
It's called the Neesa Vampire series, Neesa, and it's on all over Amazon and everything. And
So
it
we can
came
order
as
it
a
there.
surprise to me because that's one of the last things I expected to happen.
It's weird how that works out. Yeah. I'm with
Yeah,
you.
so that's where it's about on that. And I just kept writing and writing, and
Nice.
it kept
Everybody, go
flowing.
buy this book. Find out where to buy it. Go buy his series. I think it's awesome. The concept. I didn't really read any of it, but I just love the fact that you're doing stuff. It's one thing to say something when you actually do something. It's awesome. For that
Thank you.
alone, go buy it. Go buy
Thank
the book.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. It was adventure writing because I was actually traveling to places where some of the chapters take place to get the feel of the place and everything, be able to write the description of what it looked like and
So
everything.
you felt it through the
So
process.
I felt it, and
you
I
did it. You.
Actually, it took a few years just
That's
to
what
do
it's about.
that. But
Oh, sorry.
now I'm so much into my music
Yeah.
and everything that I haven't been writing in a while because I'm really into doing my own music. I'm not really a hired gun for any bands anymore. I'm doing my own thing,
When
which
you
is
decide to
great.
retire your clips.
It's great because I get to be my own boss of that. And
I get it.
for so many years, I had to do what I was told and everything. And I was always a rebel, so I didn't always like doing
like
what I was
you're
told.
I'm a
and
rebel,
everything.
Daddy. I'm a rebel.
Yeah, so
know.
I just go with the flow of what I pretty much want to do now.
Yeah.
Except for work, I have to work.
I dig that. Like we all need money, right? Like bills will be bills, right? But you got to try to enjoy it in the process, enjoy the ride, as much as you can. It's just going to happen. I don't think it's supposed to be perfect down here anyway. Like if it was, it would be boring as hell.
Yeah, it would be
like
boring.
you got to have things go on in your life. Sometimes people have to. This is about you, not me, but I just feel like I have to interject. Like on this topic, you made me think of it. Sometimes people do have to hit rock bottom to appreciate on the way back up, and if they make it on the way back up, a lot of times people give up. And that's why, like, I agree with you so much. I talk to people all the time at different levels, going through different stuff, and the whole never give up.
Exactly.
Don't give up.
Exactly.
We're going to die anyway, right? You know what I mean? On our physical bodies. So
Yeah, if somebody
point,
hits bottom, the only way up, way to go is up.
But some people might
Where
not
do you
have
back
that
up?
support group, like, or good friends, or even one friend.
Yeah.
Or even a person at the grocery store that's going to give them a positive, one word could change somebody's life type of thing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm feeling it. Anyway, no, that's great. Enough. I'm all, buy his book.
This is the second in the series. There's the first and the third. This was a lot of fun to write. One thing I found that I was getting better and better as I wrote because it's not something I was used to doing. And I had 2 girls help me write this actually.
That helps when you have a lot of people interjecting, sitting around a table sometimes, coming up with, what else? That reminds me. You ever been where, some of the people around, speaking of positive and negative and everything, that's one of the things with VisitR I just like to, always kind of touch on, there's a lot of positive outlets, there's negative outlets. People are going through all kinds of stuff, but I like to try to push the positive ones that people could have or have. that, you know, that work out. And it's all a matter of, I think it's a matter of perspective, you know, but not everybody has, you know, that person, you know, like a lot of people that like say all this like negative stuff, you know, to you sometimes, and it gets to people, like they're not doing anything themselves. So it's like, well, you know, once in a while, you have to remind yourself, like, you know, I'm not gonna let you in my bubble. You know what I mean, right? It's hard not to let people in your bubble. You know, and that old saying, like a lot of people always like, yeah, okay, I care what people think about me and my perception, especially nowadays. I want to get so many likes. I want to get so many followers. It's just like, yeah, you do that, and okay, been there, done that, whatever. What'd you get out of it, right? It's just like, well, a bunch of flubber, a bunch of fakeness, right? You know, like doesn't really matter, you know. And most people are just worried about what you think about them, and then you're worried about what you think about them, and it's just right, you know. Life's too short. Sorry, I say
Yeah,
too much. But
exactly.
it's first episode. I'm excited. I'm anxious as hell, you know, because we're doing this. I'm so honored. Oh my God, I'm just still so honored. I can't. I have a list of questions here. I try to prepare, but you know, like an uncle said to me one time, really cool guy. He said, you know, like I don't care how many times you try to plan for something, never goes out the way you planned it, right? I guess it's all how you like navigate what happens or how you react, right?
Exactly. No matter
Well,
how you plan for something, it never plays out the
yeah,
way you always
yeah.
planned. It
And
hardly ever does.
yeah, I
You
think in
can
a sense
ask
that's
any
fun.
military
Yeah.
officer that, and anything they come up with any
Oh, I'm
plan
sorry.
or
Say that.
anything like that, nothing's
Oh,
ever going to go the way it's down on paper.
I get what you're saying. All right. Well, you know, I can't say enough how honored and happy and grateful I am that you showed up for this first episode. And you know, you're a busy guy too. You got a lot going on, and you made the time. I'd like to have you back. Heck, when the time is right, like to have you co-host a few here and there. So I'm trying to look forward. I know a lot of guests that you might be very interested in, you know, meeting as well. And you're a good dude. You're awesome. We met a few years ago, I love you. I didn't know you had such a box full of gems. But everybody, make sure to go to the site, get his series, buy his book. You know, support him. He's awesome. Check out his music. We'll throw up his, you know, your Instagrams, your social media platforms and stuff. And I love you, man. Please come back. And so, with that said, I just want to thank my producers, Rip Roaring Productions, and the whole crew, and Rippy himself. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking this out. You know, we're all making history together. And feel free to follow us on a lot of the other numerous platforms. And whenever I'll like throw something out there, I'll try to be like open with everybody and get back to everybody. And I threw my phone number out there, and my phone's blowing up. Thank God I have it on silent today. You know, like once the coolness got the novelty wore off on that within 30 seconds, and now it's annoying. But I love you all. All right, said too much, but that's what I do. Thank you again for tuning in to VisitR, my new show, our new show, and we're out of here.